Even when you expect it, you're never quite prepared for it. Tale had been told for days, weeks, months even, that Bill Belichick's time as the HC of the NEP was coming to an end. And while many people rejected it and some embraced it, when the news finally drops, it still hits like a ton of bricks. Or one of the great defensive players that he coached for a quarter century in New England, wherein he went to 9 Super Bowls and brought home 6 Lombardis, a franchise, a fan base, a region, a league changed for the better in so many ways, thanks to the brilliance and the coaching greatness and the miserable persona and everything that was Bill Belichick in New England, which comes to an end finally, as reported by Mike Reese and Adam Schefter on ESPN Thursday morning, January 11th, 2024. As the famous meme said, let's party for so long today. Party's over. It's your old pals Nick Fitzy Stevens and Andy Jumbo Hart coming to you on an emergency 6 Rings and Football Things podcast to react immediately to Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots parting ways after 24 incredible seasons. Well, I mean, maybe 21, 22, depending on how you look at like the first season last year, the year before that.
This one was incredibly bad, so I would incredible.
I would say incredible as well. Yes. Thank you guys for tuning in. We decided to jump right on the Facebook and socials live so we could get some of your reactions as well as ours first. Andy, I'm not sure exactly if you were up before the sun, if you were prepared for it today. I was on Rich Keefe's show last night. We were saying the news would probably be dropped early next week after Super Wild Card weekend, though they didn't want it to linger over the NFL's basically marquee non-Super Bowl weekend of football action, excitement, and more. It just sort of seemed like the time would take a little bit longer. We'd heard rumors of teams interested, negotiations ongoing, but it drops on a Thursday morning. I was awoken to my phone just going absolutely bananas. It was everyone either sharing a thought, looking for a reaction or more. Where were you and what happened when you first heard the news that Belichick was done in New England?
I was in bed and I was clicking on the notifications on my phone this morning. And I'll be honest, this is about 2 days later than I was led to believe that this was going to happen. I kind of expected Tuesday to be the day when we would be having this Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick press conference at Gillette Stadium. Instead, it's Thursday at noon. But this was the worst kept secret in sports of late. I think whether you wanted to believe it or not, you knew about it and you kind of thought it was true. I also have to be the bearer of bad news to a lot of people in the little scroll of comments on the right side of my screen right now.
Yeah.
If you want Mike Vrabel, I think you're going to be disappointed. And
wow. We're not. Wow. The body's not even cold and we're already discussing.
Okay, somebody said that to me on Twitter, and I said, listen, the time of death was weeks ago, if not months ago. So the body is cold. Even though we are putting the body on display and holding it in state today, the body's already cold. But I think it's going to be Gerard Mayo. I think it's been Gerard Mayo all along. The only thing that changed was the 1 year sped up timeline. It was supposed to be a 2-year transition. It ends up being a 1 year transition. I feel bad for Gerard Mayo already because no one wants him. I think there's probably going to be struggles early next year, and I think he's going to face fire and criticisms, and he's got obviously he's got huge shoes to fill. If it's Gerard Mayo,
you could say that and then some.
The fact I think he would have had a better environment to begin his head coaching career in if Vrabel had not been fired in Tennessee. The addition of Vrabel to the narrative, I think, hinders Gerard Mayo. But first, we need to talk about Bill Belichick. Who still wants to coach, who, by the way, forget Bill Belichick for half a second. In less than 24 hours, Pete Carroll, Nick Saban, and Bill Belichick are no longer coaching their team.
Every great, like the three of the pillars, three legacy coaches. The oldest coach in the NFL, the second oldest and longest tenured coach in the NFL. Actually, Tomlin's second longest, but Carroll was there 14, Belichick 24, and then Nick Saban with his 7 national championships, Belichick with 6 Lombardis, Pete Carroll with 2 Super Bowls. Just like the very foundation of everything football that we follow as fans, as New Englanders, as massholes, as Pats people. Like, this is half our lives. Like, you and I are in the
Who predicted it?
All 3? You didn't predict all 3.
I didn't specifically predict all 3, but what did I keep telling you? No one in the NFL coaches past 72. They're all
whatever that 72 is the magic Logan's run. The timer goes off in your hand, and that's it.
And it's not a modern thing. Like, all these coaches are young, all these 30-something offensive minds. No. In the history of football, George Papa Bear Hallis was done at 72. Like, all these guys were done by 72. And now you have Carroll is 72, although I think he's going to hit 73 because he certainly seems like he wants to coach. Belichick's going to hit 72 because he is going to coach somewhere. Saban is the wild card in this. Maybe he'll go be Belichick's DC where he doesn't have to deal with NILs and all the crap that has taken over college football. My favorite thing, and
that would be amazing. Can I just say real quick, Andy? Like, can I just venture forth right now? Once again, it's at Jumbo Hart and at Fitzy GFY. No, it just came up on the wrong side of the screen.
Jesus.
And thank you guys. We have 400 people watching live right now as we record this as well for the Six Rings and Football Things podcast feed. Thank you guys for jumping in. We immediately wanted to react and engage with you guys because this has literally been more than half of our careers, half of our lives. Watching Bill Belichick coach the New England Patriots, you remember where you were for every great moment, every great press conference, every bitter defeat, every triumphant Super Bowl, the hiring.
My entire career, by the way.
Now the firing. Yeah, it pretty much is your entire career, which is just.
No, not pretty much. I arrived as a college intern in 2000 with Bill Belichick.
Holy
started working
shit.
full-time with the Patriots in 2001. Like,
damn.
This is my career. Today is the first, or tomorrow is the first day that I will be working in the sports media where Bill Belichick was not the HC of the NEP. That's the reality of it.
Yeah. It's mind. Again, that's why I say, like, no matter how much you expected it, no matter how prepared you thought you were for it.
Rusty Gaspard. Big fan of his. So it's official. Like, he's holding out hope that nothing is over. Nothing.
Yeah, yes, Cesar Augustus.
Sorry,
it is the end of an era. Rusty Gaspard. So it's official. Yes, today, in case you guys didn't hear, in addition to what they had to say, thank you, Jorge. There will be a presser at noon. That's why Andy and I wanted to jump on the pod machine, chat you guys up a little bit, react. He's going down to Gillette. He'll be there for the press conference. And then right afterward, he and Mike Cadlick will go live. They'll do a podcast reacting to the presser as well, because if anything, in what Andy did for the Patriots, what I did goofing around on YouTube beforehand, and what we've come together to do here on the podcast with WEEI and more, we want to always provide a place for you guys to be entertained, informed, engaged, enraged, and so much more. There's zero chance any of our favorite apps, including FanDuel, the sponsor of the Six Rings pod and more, would have ever put odds on Carroll, Belichick, and Saban all departing their franchises in the same. I mean, like, if someone has a slip, if somebody puts a slip on Twitter, on Twix, as I like to call it now, and it shows like they bet on all three things, then please enjoy your Derek Jeter-sized mansion, infinity pool, robot servants, and more. And to your Alabama thing as well, I would just like to say, we don't get to handpick where Belichick goes next. We have no say in anything, period, let alone that. I got to tell you, if there was any one place, and we all knew how effing bizarre it was to see Brady in a Tampa uniform, Andy, it'll always be weird to see Belichick in another team's colors on the sideline. But I got to say, Belichick at Alabama would be effing awesome. It's not going to happen, but that would be amazing.
That would be my number 2, and I'm actually in the process of doing a little fun, quote unquote, and I put it in quotes because I don't think it'll be fun for Patriots fans where Belichick ends up. I actually think if you're a Patriots fan, you want him to end up in, like, Atlanta. They're kind of meaningless. They need a quarterback. Right. They feel like the safest place for him to land in terms of the pain of Patriots fans. But if we were doing fun, quote unquote, places for him to land, the first place I would look is the NYJ, the team he just played on the football field.
I'll just say GTFO. There is no chance. No.
What were the chances of Saban and Carroll and Belichick going out within 24 hours of each other?
Hold on.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Wait, you literally think that there's a chance that Woody Johnson would get on the phone right now and just be like, okay, I understand we weren't exactly the best of friends. I know you had to cut and run a while back. And, BB and the NYJ will probably go down in history as mortal enemies. However, I think I've got the best roster that will help you win right now. Come back and make a wrong a right and lead us to the promised land. And by the way, we have a defense. We've got offensive talent.
You have young offensive playmakers. You have a quarterback who wears number 12, who's a Hall of Famer who you've been gushing over, and you guys can screw with the media together for 2 years in the Big Apple. It's located easily, a nice little short plane flight from Nantucket Like, there is
Well,
no
you
more
will give you
perfect-
constant use of the company plane to go from Nantucket to Long Island. Hell, there's even a ferry that does that, for God's sakes.
Is there okay? So I've already talked you into it. Now all the people in the chat that are saying no, I can talk into it. I'm telling you, it's the best end to this story that Patriots fans would hate.
Okay. All right. As a Patriot, I always try to say, Andy, and you know this, and I know sometimes it works to our benefit. More often than not, it infuriates you. Trying to think is
Daniel.
Trying to
stop.
just. Oh, there's so Daniel DeGrange. Fudge, no, stop. Please, God, no. Like a million different Michael Scott, like, you know, that meme. God, no, please. No, God, why? No. Obviously, thinking as a fan first, I have to say, F no, please, dear God, Michael Scott meme. Hell no. I can think of a million different things that I can't say on this podcast or the public airwaves that I would rather see happen, including watching my own colonoscopy before I ever see Belichick in Jets green on the sideline. That said, as fans of theater, as people that like a good storyline, can you imagine? Oh, God. Anyone? Breakfast beers? Anyone? Go ahead. I'm giving everyone full permission. Call in sick. Tell the boss you're going to be in at noon today. Tell them that you had to do a WFH. Pour yourself a stiff one. Grab an ice cold one or whatever it is you need to do to get through the day, because this is weird. Andy, we've been saying for years that it feels like we live in the upside down because Brady left and Belichick tried to rebuild the Patriots without Brady, the most significant contributor to the double dynastic run of the New England Patriots, which will never be replicated, duplicated, or even imitated. And then he tries. They almost get good again, but then they don't. And then the team falls apart and the fan base picks all these different civil wars and there's all these internal fights and battles. And can we just say right now, real quick, relief does have to be sort of part of the equation today, which is like, there has to be all right, I don't know how I feel about all of this. I don't know who I want as my coach next. You've got a nice little poll up on Twix right now that has thousands of responses. You believe I think it's going to be Mayo over Vrabel as the next head coach of the Patriots?
Just like I told you, I would be stunned if Belichick came back next year. I will be stunned if Mayo is not the next head coach of the NEP.
Yeah. All right. Good to see.
Elliot Wolf for Charlie, who's going to be the GM now. Elliot Wolf is the name I just keep hearing that I can't get away from for the GM role.
For the Patriots. So Gerard Mayo.
No, for the freaking Alabama program.
I don't know. All right. Elliot, really? Elliot Wolf?
I'm not reporting anything. I'm just saying it's a name that I can't get away from. I keep hearing it. I've heard other people saying other names and different things, but Elliot Wolf is a name I can't really get away from.
I just wanted to say
the Wolf Mayo era in New England.
I know Mayo Wolf.
Years of fun before we change again.
Sounds like some extreme content. Exactly. Enjoy that for all 2 or 3 years. That sounds like a $9 condiment at some fancy pub or Whole Foods. Like, I just want to say, like, there is Jesus. It does sound like there just is a little bit of relief. Like, just for a moment, like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen next to the team. There's no chance they'll ever be as great anytime soon as they were at the peak of the Brady-Belichick partnership, the greatest partnership in all sports. But how much of this, there's obviously a degree of excitement because, like, there's going to be a new coach. It's a new era, literally, in the NFL, the AFC East, and New England.
Is it exciting?
Well, no, but there is excitement. But the excitement is
like
tempered by fear.
No, it feels like we were millionaires and somehow lost it all. And everybody's like, well, the excitement is you get to go make $1 million again and build yourself back up financially. Is that excitement? Because I liked it better when I was eating caviar.
Exactly. Hey guys, you know what? Bologna sandwiches and canned beer on a rowboat. Get ready for it. I liked caviar and champagne on the yacht myself.
Yeah.
It's like, don't you ever get tired of oh man, all that sex I used to have, or all that money I used to have. Right. Do you ever get tired of it? No. Being awesome, being dominant, being relevant, being the champion. It never, ever got old. Scott Marzakis, rumors are Belichick will coach in the PLL, the Premier Lacrosse League. Can you imagine if they were to tweet out today, like, hey, Bill, before any decisions are made, not saying, just saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, a bizarre left turn for Belichick would be amazing.
Well, somebody on the island, as they say, tweeted out that I guess Nantucket High School does not have a football coach currently, so that job is available. He could just coach Nantucket High. I don't know if it's true. I saw it on Twitter.
Now, we don't know. There is nothing substantiated. We've heard that the Commanders are going to pursue him. Josh Harris, good friends with Jonathan Kraft. They're B school buddies. You've got Obviously, I don't think David Tepper and all the money he could offer Belichick will be worth it. We'll see who would be throwing a drink in whose face. But then again, you never know.
Never
And
know.
we have heard time and again the Falcons are going to make a massive push for Bill Belichick. Yes,
Oh, it is true.
everybody.
Martin
Yes.
Ned tells me that the Whalers, the Nantucket High football team, does in fact need a head football coach. That's my second favorite. After the Jets, if he just went to Nantucket High School and coached that team, because then I would lobby my athletic director to get us to play them this year so my son could be.
Have your son finally meet and play against Bill Belichick, bringing your whole everything full circle. That'd be like the end of Ted Lasso, where he goes back home.
I haven't seen it.
Okay, well, spoiler alert. It's been
wanna
out
watch
long
it.
enough now. It's been out long enough now.
I don't
Yeah,
have that.
there's a lot of people. Yeah, so that would immediately be my favorite. Now, I am vaulting Bill Belichick coaching Nantucket High, number 1, number 2 to the Premier League of lacrosse.
So when he
then
wants
number
to
3
rip the
anywhere else.
Nantucket High quarterback, he can't say, I can go to Foxborough High and get a quarterback to do this. Does he go, I can go to Nantucket Pop Warner and find a quarterback that can make that play? Come on, kid.
Jesus Christ, I could get on a ferry and go over to Martha's Vineyard and find someone better. Falmouth High School. I could go to Woods Hole, for Christ's sakes.
So do you believe, so the Schefters of the world, and by the way, we should get in a couple minutes, get into just glorification of Bill Belichick here, a little reliving the great days. But anyway, the Schefter report immediately is Washington and Atlanta. Do you think we're going to end up with one of those, likely, they're pursuing really hard? And quite frankly, I find them both kind of boring. I don't love either in terms of theater because neither has a quarterback. I don't think either is going to be a Super Bowl contender all that soon. I don't love those ideas. I'm rooting for Jimmy Superfly Snook off the top rope crazy idea. I want Jets, Cowboys, Bills.
See, that's why that's why I think it's going to take a little, for all we know, they've been negotiating a possible deal. And Belichick may have said to Robert Kraft in this week of multiple meetings that led to the final decision to part ways now. And the press conference is T-minus 2 hours and 15 minutes away as we pod and broad here for you. Maybe he waits a little while to see, because if the Cowboys get bumped this weekend, that's McCarthy out, Belichick in, done deal. And then he gets to say, as we look for different little button hook narratives, he gets to say Parcells was my mentor. He brought me in. I went down to where he went and I finished what he started. Bam. Awesome, amazing storybook.
Do it.
He gets it for
did it.
Exactly. Atlanta, it could be the whole obviously I handed them their franchise altering defeat. Now I went down and fixed what they broke.
I broke you. Now I will fix you.
And he gets
he's
it.
Arnold.
No, and you know what's going to be? It's going to be an $84 million 3-year deal because he'll get 28 for 3. Come on,
don't do that.
It'll,
Actually,
zero chance. I know 0 chance Arthur Blank would allow that to happen because there was the story that the Home Depot magnate was furious that the ring that they won for Super Bowl 51 had 283 diamonds.
But is he smart enough? I think Arthur Blank could be so giddy to get Bill Belichick that Bill says, I just want 3 years, 84 million. He would oh, of course, and just sign it and then be like, you mother son of a.
No, I am not pursuing the open HCP for the NEP as well. This is no matter what. Now, whoever takes this job next, you want to talk about just the ultimate tough act to follow. Cam Newton, we've said before, Cam Newton was probably, even though he was so gloriously and physically imperfect. I'm with you, Helly or Nelly, whoever this is right here. Holly. Hey, Holly. I think he could retire.
Just Holly.
I got a lot of
out nicely.
49 years old. I got a lot of shit going on.
She also, by the way, her previous comment said my 2 favorite guys, referring to you and I.
Holly, we love you. Thank you.
How can that be possible? How can the two of us be her 2 favorite guys?
She has amazing taste.
She clearly doesn't have a type because we're 2 very different dudes. So she doesn't have a type.
But together, when the Voltron of knowledge, idiocy, and football greatness that we form together, it's Wonder Twin powers. That's what's the hot and the cold, the positive, the negative, the yin and the yang. That's what works here.
Okay.
Is that Bob Wagon? Is that a Let's Party shirt that you're wearing right now? I wore mine last Sunday for the game. Yes, it is. As the guy who created the shirt in the meme, yes, it is
right now.
It right now. Well, that's why I put it out earlier today. It's Let's Party is now turned into Party's Over.
This is not a funeral. This is a party.
But what a party it's been. Yes. No, I am not a life bemoaner and a sit in your own diaper of sadness type. I am a celebrate the good times. Don't cry because it's, don't cry because it's over. Be happy because it happened. Let's not get all Winnie the Pooh on everything now. But at the same time, like you said, let's move on briefly from the who's going to be the next guy to be the HC of the NEP and where will Belichick go. Let's just focus on momentarily here how effing great this run was. Actually, Andy, real good question for you first. I think this is something you could speak to. Paul Narang, who's in the comments now. Thank you for watching on Twitter, Paul. Don't they have to hire a GM first?
No, you don't have to do anything. I mean, you do have to do some things. You have to follow the Rooney rules, and I believe they can't hire a coach until like the 20-something. There's a date.
Yep. Uh-huh.
So there are some rules, but no, you don't have to hire a GM. Robert Kraft and Jonathan Kraft could hold that to whatever. I think they will, or I don't know if it'll be a GM. There will be a head of the personnel department. And then there will be a head coach, Gerard Mayo, Elliott Wolf, just to throw two names out there that may or may not be rumbling around Patriot Nation these days. But no, they don't. Now, I don't know if maybe the question is, should they? There are a lot of people believe you should hire a GM first, and then he should be involved with the decision of who the coach is. So you marry those guys up in terms of scheme and personnel and philosophy. But no, Robert Kraft can do whatever the F he wants to do.
Yes, this is his team, as he was want to often remind us as well. Our friend Holly. Okay, Holly checking back in. I don't want Mayo.
No one does.
I don't feel good about it.
13% want Mayo. He's got a lower approval rating than the damn president. Any president.
Holy smokes. All right, right now, Andy, on your poll on the Twix platform, I'm actually, Terp, can we fix that in post? Okay, thanks. Right now, your Twix poll, that also sounds inappropriate. Left Twix, right Twix, doesn't matter. On Twitter, Patriots fans, who do you want to be the next head coach in New England? I'm going to vote just so I can see. Bam. Mike Vrabel, 63%. Gerard Mayo, 13.5%. Other, 19%. B-Flow, only 4.5%. Get Nick. All right, everyone. No, Nick Saban is not coming to coach the Patriots. And no, as fun as it may be for everyone in the comments, people believe it is a mistake. Yes, we will share any and all feelings here in the program today as well. Sanders. Ooh, can you imagine if Coach Prime came to the Patriots? That'd be some shit. How about that?
The only person who lost more games than Belichick last year.
Oh, come on. It's never too soon. Don't forget it. In Uncle Fitzy's wide world of nonsense, it is never too soon. Okay. Here's another good question. We keep trying to get to the Belichick memories, but you people are firing off too many good questions. But that's why we do these things live. Blanket, we'll do it live. Rooster Darren Winklowski. All right. Do you guys think whoever comes in as head coach has a fire sale and cleans out, or do they retain part of the infrastructure that's already there?
I think it'll be a mix. The most interesting one is obviously the two people on the defensive staff with the last name Belichick. There was a story out there that they told their dad they didn't want to move. So
I wouldn't be so. I know for a fact Steve and Jenny and that whole family absolutely, they love their life. Like
I think there's a chance they stay. He's tight with Mayo, and I think if Steve Belichick wants to stand on his own 2 feet, have a career in 3 years when his dad is done, the best move he can do is stay and run the Patriots defense for Gerard Mayo.
Now, would Mike Vrabel, let's say Vrabel is the choice, would Steve Belichick stay? And then Mayo says like, adios. Would Steve Belichick work for Vrabel, or does that feel too like, hey, Dad, I kind of like the new mom?
Yeah.
What?
Or
I like the new dad.
That feels less likely. I don't rule it out, but that feels less likely than a Steve Belichick, Gerard Mayo staying together.
Now, Andy, here's a sentiment commonly echoed in Pat's Nation right now. I know this is what Rich Keefe wanted. A lot of people have been banging the drum to go with an offensive first guy coming off of a quarter century of a defensive genius with two defensive-minded coaches, likely Mayo and Vrabel, as your top candidates. James Pettigrew on Twitter. It'll be Vrabel, but I want Ben Johnson.
Well, I don't think you're going to get either of the guys you want. So sorry to be the bearer of bad news. No, Ben Johnson, or I do think there is a strong mindset in Patriot Nation led by the great Rich Keefe that give me an offensive guy. You pick the guy, but give me a young offensive mind. It's an offensive league. It's an offensive game. And I think there's a lot of people. Now, we will see what Gerard Mayo does. Who does he bring in as his offensive coordinator? Is it Bill O'Brien? Is it Josh McDaniels? Is it somebody he knows? Or does he go, whoa, whoa, whoa? Just because I lived the Patriot way doesn't mean I'm just an extension of the Patriot way. I'm going to get Shane Waldron, my guy, who I think is probably out of work with Pete Carroll out of work in
So
Seattle.
he should become a hot coaching candidate and should be getting as many interviews as
He would
Slowick
be
as
interested.
Todd
I can tell
Monken.
you this. He would be interested in coming east and being the OC in New England. I can tell you he would be.
Yeah. Okay. Now, see, there would be a
Comes
new
from the
offensive
McVay.
mind.
Yep.
McVay tree. I see, dude. You say that, and all of a sudden I'm thinking Vrabel and Waldron, and get me Adam Peters from San
Stop
Francisco to
thinking
come.
Vrabel.
Damn it. Yeah, people are.
I would like Vrabel too. I'm going to share something that I probably shouldn't. I had a dream that Mike Vrabel called me last night.
What?
Yeah.
What
He was like, hey, just want to say, looking forward to working with you. I've really enjoyed your support over the years or something. So in my dreams, Mike Vrabel becomes the head coach.
Jeremy Steele, letting Brady walk was Kraft's dumbest move. This is the second dumbest move. WTF. All right. Andy, would you just like to speak to, like, I know you've been frustrated by Belichick's moves, his coaching, seeming like, we've banged the drum for a long time. We've been up his rear about the whole, like, roster moves, letting Brady go. If you put your stones on the table like that, you have to be ready for the smoke that follows. But you've been more critical of his coaching than I have in recent years. I've been more upset about the roster building and everything that's gone with it. Whereas you've just said, like, I actually don't think he's as good a coach on the field as he used to be. Knowing full well the judgment storm that will follow in these comments and after whenever people consume this podcast and video. Go ahead, the floor is yours, guy.
So I think the not roster decisions with personnel, but personnel decisions in terms of on field, which to me is coaching. It's not putting together the roster, but when you decide how to utilize Trent Brown or Vidarian Lowe or Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi or whoever, that is coaching. That's lineup decisions. I think those have been questionable. And I also think there's been way too many complimentary football type mistakes in recent years. The last two, like, how many times have we seen these horrific plays on special teams, horrific penalties at the wrong time that change? And so by extension, when a team is, when teams don't do those things, we say they are really well coached. So when they happen, don't we have to say they're kind of poorly coached, or that's an example of poor coaching? Even if to some degree the coach doesn't have control of the idiots he puts on the field when they go out there in the heat of the moment, you either get credit, you don't get credit. It's a weird, because I do think if you still just allow him to kind of scout another team, come up with a game plan, make some adjustments in the game, I think he's still good at that. But managing the talent is also part of it. And I don't know that he's done a good job managing the talent from a week to week. And also, I continue to marvel at the fact that before the 2022 season, Matt Patricia and Joe Judge both told us very openly, Bill has a vision for this offense. Bill is doing this with this offense. And somehow over the last 2 years, the struggles on offense have been completely blamed on Matt Patricia, Joe Judge, and Bill O'Brien. And Bill Belichick doesn't get blamed for those. And I don't really understand why he's been a part of that process.
Correct.
The floor is yours, my senior senator.
Thank you. Good sir. The South Coast. I see. That's the thing. Like, okay, everyone recognizes Bill Belichick as the greatest defensive mind in the NFL now, a defensive genius, the gridiron guru, the greatest game. He's got a game. The only coach that's got a game plan from a Super Bowl in the Hall of Fame. We get it. Yes, a brilliant defensive mind that has forgotten more today than most people will ever learn in a lifetime. Got it.
I agree. He's forgotten a lot.
That said, all of that being said, you can't argue if you want. You can argue up a wall and piss up a rope for all I care. You cannot disagree with the idea that little details around the Patriots, ever since the great little Mr. Clean whiteout eraser, I've called him Flex Seal for the last several years. The Flex Seal that was Tom Brady and all the incredible talent that left around the same time that he did, Belichick hasn't been able to replace Gronk, hasn't been able to replace Edelman, hell, hasn't replaced the Kevin Falk, Shane Vereen, James White third down back role, Andy. There aren't any great receivers. Yes, the defense is awesome because that's what he knows. That's what he is. That's what he does. He lives, eats, breathes, sleeps football, and especially defense. But the offense has been horrendous for an age now, and it's not just Josh McDaniels leaving. There has been no fix for it, and I hate to say it, even if somebody makes their name and legacy around their defensive reputation, you still have to try to effing score points. You still have to be as offensively good, if not better, than the other team as you are defensively. And it's been a problem for a long time now. And I've said again, and I'll say another time, and I'm sure I'll probably have to say it 500 more times. Bill, the GM, unfortunately, has damned Bill, the coach. And I think that ultimately is what led us to where we are today.
Yep. There's no question. The reason they suck is personnel. The reason they stink is personnel. And that's why I defend Bill O'Brien, because bad offensive line, bad wide receivers, bad quarterback generally means bad offense, regardless of who the coach is. I don't really care.
Justin Boudreau, watching live on Facebook, and he chimes in, forget about all those other positions. Bill couldn't replace the effing kicker, Fitzy. Yeah, Chad Ryland, you didn't help either. Everybody was part of the problem.
He hit a 56-yard game winner, dude.
And now we wish he didn't, because then we'd have the second overall pick.
True that.
So
can we stop for just a minute?
All right.
We're talking about why he's fired. We're talking about who's going to replace him. We're talking about where he's going to go. And I know this is obvious, but I sometimes believe you should accentuate the obvious. He's the greatest coach the Patriots ever had. He's arguably one of the greatest coaches in all of sports history, never mind football history. He brought 2 decades of unique style to unique winning as a sleeve-tearing, stone-faced dink of a grumpy coach who was our a-hole, as I believe his owner once put it in one of those books at a party.
He's an a-hole, but he was our a-hole.
Correct. He was our a-hole for 2 decades, and you're never going to see anything like it again in terms of success, longevity, Super Bowls, winning. Anything like him is gone. And that is, it's where we started. I knew this was coming. It would have stunned me if it didn't come, but somebody likened it to me like getting kicked in the nuts. I can tell you I'm going to kick you in the nuts. I can tell you to get ready to get kicked in the nuts. And when I kick you in the nuts, it's still really going to hurt and leave you rolling around on the floor in agony. So
right here, I'm going to if you watch those competitive slapping contests, people know the slap is coming. Still doesn't mean it's not going to knock your ass out, if not at least sting for a long, long time. Correct. And look, to me, Belichick was not only, just as Brady has said time and again, the perfect coach to develop him, the perfect coach to work alongside his savage, obsessive, competitive genius. That there was the ultimate marriage. Sometimes, though, these relationships end. And for a region, an area like Foxborough, Boston, Massachusetts, New England, Patriots Nation, known for shitty weather, terrible attitudes, brilliance. That's fine. Whatever. It's Thursday morning and our coach just left. So what? Nobody cares.
Ouch.
Anyone care that I just dropped an S-bomb? No.
You're
okay, thank
pussy.
you. Yeah. F you. I still like the way that sounds better. But for an area known for like the attitude, traffic, arrogance, whatever, like everything about New England was mirrored perfectly by Belichick. His demeanor, the look, the attitude. Like, if you think Belichick and Brady were a perfect marriage, so was Belichick in this region for a quarter century. And when it played its course, that was that. But like, what an amazing fit. We have a terrible attitude by and large in New England. Bill Belichick, largely with a terrible attitude. People in New England, they're usually pretty funny and also think they're funnier than they are. You and I could each say the same about the other one. So go F yourself again, Hart. And you know what? Same with Belichick. We hear he's the funniest guy in the world, but never presents that facade to us or never shows us how funny he is or doesn't show the personality as well. We love football. We love sports. Belichick, obsessed with football and sports. And ultimately, above anything and everything, Bill Belichick is all about winning. And nobody wins more than New England. And that's why it was such a great marriage. And sadly, no Daniel DeGrange. Bill Belichick now finally does have a couple of days off.
Well, not too long, because I think he will land on his feet within the next couple of weeks somewhere, and we'll be watching him rebuild, build, or tune up a team elsewhere in the NFL. And we are going to all have whatever the opposite of cross eyes is, because we're going to have one eye on a different city for a few years now and what's going on a day-to-day basis. The
NEP, NFL, ADD that we're going to have while we're like, all right, I'm paying attention to so they're interviewing Mayo today because they have to, and he could be the guy, but maybe Vrabel. And I didn't expect them to bring this guy. Hold on, where's Belichick today? Like, we're just going to be here and over there and here and over there.
Maybe we're going to pretend we don't care, but we really care.
Maybe we should Yes, I will agree with you. Watching live now on Twitter, D Alex. Yes, we are spoiled fans. No more spoiled fans in the world. And if you didn't take the
Agreed.
time, this is not on me. This is not on Andy. This
Probably
is
should have
not.
gone to the finale at Gillette Stadium when you had your chance to honor Belichick before he left. You spoiled fans.
It was not a fun alley. That's for damn sure. That was nothing fun about last Sunday as well.
I heard that's why he's actually leaving. They were
Yep.
all ready to stay together, keep the band together, shoot for more Super Bowls, and then they both saw the empty crowd and were like, "F it, I'm out of here. F it, you're out of here."
And by the way, I just want to say to anyone who's like, Boston media finally gets their carcass. They finally got their trophy. They drove him out of. If anybody does anyone really think that Bill Belichick is leaving because of the Boston media?
Oh, no, but there's people that think the Boston media has been trying to drive him out for decades and years, and it's personal.
Oh, forget that, please. Are you? Yes, I hate Bill Belichick, everybody. Oh, thank God he's gone. He never gave us anything to talk about. There was never anything interesting. Oh, my God. Thank God the greatest coach of all time and the person who was basically the shepherd of the double dynastic run and the guy who co-piloted the bus with Brady is gone. I couldn't wait for Brady to leave, and thank God Belichick's gone. God, everyone that literally believes anybody with any connection or tertiary association with the Boston sports media being glad that Bill Belichick, who gave us so much to write about and talk about, discuss, and podcast, live, breathe, eat, and sleep. If you think we're happy that he's gone, blow it out the same ass you do most of your talking, because that is the dumbest take I've ever heard. And I've heard some dumb ones, most of them from me.
Me too. From you, I mean, not from me, from you.
How many times can I tell you to go F yourself in one podcast? We're in a glass case of emotion.
It's going to be like this for a few days, and the fans are feeling it because they're going to go through a couple nut kicks. I'm still amazed with how popular Mike Vrabel is. I thought the offensive idea would be more popular than Mike Vrabel, like the Ben Johnson or whoever, the offensive coach. The fact that so many people want Mike Vrabel, and I'll admit, if you gave me the option, Gerard Mayo, Mike Vrabel, I'd take Mike Vrabel. And yes, I would also worry about the GM more than the coach, because that's something, brag, I said on early edition on NBC Sports Boston last night. We're spending all this time talking about the head coach. I think if the head coach next year was Belichick, Mayo, or Vrabel, if you have a good GM who nails the hell out of this offseason, the draft picks, the free agency, whatever, they can all get the job done in terms of the coaching. The personnel is the most important part of this offseason and this next rebuild 2-year stretch. And we're not really talking about that. We're like, yeah, it might be Elliott Wolf. Yeah, it might be this guy. Might be Trey Brown. Might be Adam Peters. And it's like, no. That's the one that matters, because I think all three of these guys could coach a good team. If you give them a good roster, I think you'll get good chicken salad.
I agree with you as well, Andy. I think I shared it on the pod. I know I shared it with Rich Keefe on the nighttime show, but as I would normally do before every home game, just waltzing around the lots across the street, by the buses, close to the stadium, Route 1 Liquors and beyond, just asking people how they're feeling, what do they want to see, the status of Bill and more. My favorite comment this year was if Bill Belichick sticks around, now obviously now he's gone, Belichick needs to just hit Yahoo Auto Draft. Like, just don't, whoever picks next now, hopefully they'll follow the same advice. It makes so much sense. Instead of overthinking and trying to reach for people and being more clever than other people in the draft, just grab the most talented player available. Just take best available. Go with as many high floor guys as you can. Like you said, nail this next draft and you can start competing again. It will not be at the level that we experience. You're not going to get back to that sweet cherry high like we experienced for 2 decades, but to just be a team that doesn't constantly have the narrowest of margins for victory or competition and shoot itself in the foot all the time, that would be a great start no matter where. Let's have everyone, everyone that's currently watching now live on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter. Thank you guys once again for joining this emergency 6 Rings and Football Things podcast with Fitzy and Hart. Let's each share our favorite Belichick memory. Yours could be from a presser. Yours could be, him giving you the death stare at the stadium. I personally have never shaken his hand. I've never met him in person as well. I know you have a million different times.
That's a good question. So one of my all-time favorites is one of the down seasons. And I don't remember quite which one, but it was late in the year and they were like scuffling along at, let's say, 8-5 with 3 games to go or something like that. And he kept bringing up the team's record in press. He's like, we've won 8 football games. We're not a terrible football team. He said it like a few times, which everybody's like, that's weird. He usually doesn't bring up record and past and next week. And I had a couple buddies that were like, you should ask him about that. You should ask him about that. So at the end of one of the press conferences, Bill, how come you keep bringing up your record? You usually don't do things like that. And he had like a quick, terse answer. And then literally as he walked off the podium, he said, you mother effer.
Ah!
And I was kidding. Like, I got to stop listening to my friends who tell me what questions to ask at Belichick press conference.
Andy, do you honestly understand there are people that would like never wash your ear if they could get it as like a souvenir? Bill Belichick F-bombed you. That's amazing. I mean, what an honor. Literally, how many people
I thought it was funny because it's him. Like, I think he calls people MFers probably 1,000 times a day. His players, his kids, his assistant coaches.
Let me share one. Let me share one. As you have said, like you and Jerry Thornton, you guys built this cottage industry of all the Foxborough faithful, the super fans, etc. Defending the wall. Oh, F yourself. That's 4. Haven't heard you people as much as go F yourself. So obviously my favorite thing ever was my buddy Marlon, who created this at I Love Boston Sports. Free Brady was the roll tide of Patriots Nation for some time, and what a unifying time it was. But Marlon also did this little thing that became like a t-shirt and a meme. It was Belichick as Uncle Sam saying, I want you to do your job. So I remember, you remember that was one of the more iconic images from the second half of the double dynastic run. So Jerry Thornton was at the time working for WEEI, and he was on the Dale and Hawley show. And it was the first time that he was going to be part of the live interview with Belichick. Jerry wore that t-shirt. Okay, because Marlon from I Love Boston Sports sent him one as well. And the interview finished, and Bill was very pleasant with Jerry because Jerry knows football, and they talked Navy and all that shit. And then at the end, Jerry immediately at the very end, you ready for this? It was all over. And as Belichick like said, all right, thanks everybody. And he turns around and starts to walk away and then turns to Jerry and goes, where'd you get that? And Jerry said, my buddy Fitzy's guy, Marlon, who runs this thing. He's like, I like that. Can you make sure I have one of those sent to me? Belichick, just so you know, does have a sense of humor, appreciates all the idiot super fans out there. And Belichick was a fan of this as well, which is awesome. And by the way, if I could, I would also have sent to him, of the many different things, mementos you want to share. My friend Jennifer, who's an artist in Montana, sent me this. It was Baby Stewie as Bill Belichick.
Oh, I like that one.
Isn't this great? Now, wouldn't this be a great one?
I like that one a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love this one. Isn't the perfect Bill Belichick, coach of the New England Patriots, Andrew?
And the other, this is an on-the-record press conference one that I always loved, that I've always thought I should go back and find because I can't remember exactly when it was. But early on in his tenure and success, year 4 maybe, he said, I asked something about praising players or whatever. And he goes, believe it or not, Andy, I'm not real big on positive reinforcement. And I was like, that really it said it all about his philosophies of coaching. It's like constructive criticism, fixing problems. It's not patting on the back. And I laughed about it because I think it's pretty much how I look at life, how I view life. I'm not the most positive in the world of everything around me.
You don't say.
So I kind of felt like, hey, we're kind of kindred spirits, Belichick and I. We kind of look at things in the same perverse, crappy way around here. So no, it's strange. And I will say it should liven up Patriots Monday press conferences, whoever the next coach is, because I do think stale might be the wrong word, but the predictability of Belichick press conferences, the way he maybe wore down the media to stop asking certain questions they knew he wouldn't answer. I think we may have a more open and unpredictable and entertaining discourse with the new head coach and the way he answered. Like, just look at Gerard Mayo. Let's just say it's Gerard Mayo and go back to that press conference, that Zoom. Was that just last week? Jeez, it feels like forever ago.
When Gerard Mayo answered the whole "you've rubbed people the wrong way," I feel like that was 2 weeks ago.
Okay, maybe 2 weeks ago. But if Gerard Mayo or Mike Vrabel, he can be very open. Whoever the next coach is, there's going to be a very different dynamic between him, the fans, the media, the interaction with sports talk radio and things of that world.
And can't you
So
be excited for that, but while at the same time also being sad about it? Like two things can be true. Two. I just want to remind
I'm going to
everyone, like,
bitch about it. Give me time. 6 months from now, I'll be like, Bill wouldn't answer it that way. I think Mayo should take a page out of Belichick's book and shut the F up. I can write the column now. Like,
right. I mean, like, it's okay. Two things can be true at once. You can both be excited or at least eager for what's to come because there will be a new coach. There'll be some new logos or designs. There'll be a new tenor to things, different kinds of press conferences, different energy, different engagement, all of it. I'm sure they'll probably change the intro music at the stadium. And like what has been for a quarter century is now done, wrapped up. A bow is being put on it. Some will send it into space. Some will hug it dearly. Some will say bury it behind the stadium with all the footballs from the games that Belichick said they needed to move on from, etc. We are on to the next coach, just like he was on to Cincinnati. Another favorite moment, obviously, of so many millions of Patriots fans. But it's okay for you to feel like fearful of the future, but also excited for it. You can be sad that today had to happen. It was going to happen at one point or another. And you can be mad about the way it went down. But you can also look forward with great anticipation to what's to come. Like, this is okay. Like, allow yourself to be an emotional pretzel today. That's where most of us are. And I'm as much as I don't like the way it all went down at the same time, yes, I'm happy about it. And thank you very much. Of course, another favorite moment, Andy. No, not David. It's a sad day. Everyone loves Snapchat, face chat.
yeah, I was a little disappointed when he told the Greg Hill show that if he had an announcement, he'd put it on Twitter. I was like, wait a minute. You said it right. That's not what you really are leaving. You're broken yourself because you're supposed to be making a joke now. Like if you said Twitter, that's not cool, Bill. And we should say for all the negative ones out there, and I'm as negative as anybody can be, you know, the classic one door closes, another door opens. Like you just never know what you're going to get. It is what it is. Can I throw more cliches out there?
Nope. So many different expressions, David. Some people are sad, some people are not. That's okay. To each his own.
Wait, David's in Greece? How could you be sad? Isn't it beautiful like all the time there?
Yeah, it's kind of lovely all the time. Yeah, today is another one of those days. I'm with you, Chris, watching live right now on Twitter. I feel old today. Carroll, Saban, and Belichick. This is going to be one, Andy, this will definitely be one of those, like, we remember life in these benchmark moments, weddings, funerals, anniversaries, deaths, passing, change. Like, these are the days that we mark our life by in our emotional and psychological calendar. And this is one of those days we're all going to remember everything. You know, we all knew where we were when Brady left. Now we're all going to remember what we were doing when Belichick left.
And you could probably, if you were a creative documentarian, weave together those three guys into a bouncing back and forth timeline of how they all ended up ending their tenures with those teams in the same day.
What if Apple Plus TV just decided, you know what? We spent so much money on the dynasty. Here, Bill, here's $100 million. Just leave. Apple just bought him out for the dynasty coming to Apple TV in a couple of weeks, premiering I believe February 16th as well, the 10-part docuseries. It could not be more appropriately timed. It could not be more relevant than ever. Like, this is the perfect time for it. And just want to let you all know, Jeff Benedict, the author of the book, The Dynasty, will join us on the Six Rings and Football Things podcast in February to discuss the series and share some behind the scenes things. We may even have a little, grab some brewskis and do a little Facebook Live, an unfiltered Facebook Live with Jeff to tell some stories about
unfiltered.
Yeah, that's the way you like it. You get your Miller, I'll get my Gansets, and then we'll do it just like that. See, there you go. Leslie Dean, thank you. No grown adult should need their feelings validated, but we are more than happy to discuss. Thank you for validating my sad but excited feelings. Too much emotion is frustrating. Lol, I stay single for this reason. Well, all right, Leslie.
That last part took a turn.
I was going to say that. That's a great question from Chris on Twitter. How do you think Brady feels this morning?
Weird. Just like the rest of us. Like, he saw it coming. He knew it was going to happen. He's lived the business, blah, blah, blah. But Bill Belichick is no longer the head coach of the New England Patriots. That's like your parents knocked down your house and you were like, wait, my bedroom was always there. I could always go back to my bedroom and know that, like, where my bed was. And now the house is, you sold it and the other person knocked it down and they're building condos. That's so not cool.
Weird. So weird. All right. Well, Andy, I know you got to make your way to the stadium in moments. 12 o'clock for the presser today. That little media room is going to be packed, jam packed.
No, they're actually in the auditorium where they do post-game press conferences. They're going to be in the team auditorium for this big one with Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick at noon. It'll be streaming everywhere. You can see it on Patriots.com. You can listen to it on WEEI. And as I said, Mike Cadlick and I will break it down later this afternoon on another Six Rings and Football Things. Double dip, 2 in 1 day. Something big must happen.
Yeah, our new beat guy has been doing an excellent job as well. We'll get a chance for him to weigh in. Imagine that, your first year on the job, and you cover a bookend miserable season for Belichick.
The dynasty. Nice job, Cadlick.
Nice job, Cadlick. They were 5-11 in his first year. They go 4-13 in Belichick's final season. No Pro Bowlers in that first year. No Pro Bowlers this year. There was numerical symmetry to the bookends of Belichick's time as the HC of the NEP. But one thing that cannot be argued, disputed, or in any way, shape, or form denigrated is the fact that he was the greatest coach in franchise history. He was the greatest winner, everyone's absolute favorite loser. We rode the waves of his misery, his joy, his success, and his brilliance for so long. And there'll never be another one like him. I know you're grateful, Andy, for the opportunities that his coaching, his brilliance, his shepherding of the franchise and more gave you. I, as well, as a fan, now someone who dabbles in the meteor as well. It was awesome. It really was. It was effing awesome. And I wish him nothing but the best wherever he goes, except, of course, whenever the next team that he coaches plays the New England Patriots. Unless, of course, it's at Alabama, Lacrosse, or Nantucket High, in which case, LFG. All right, Hart. For Andy Hart at Jumbo Hart, this is your old pal, Nick Fitzy Stevens at FitzyGFY here with a live Six Rings and Football Things reaction show. The news of Bill Belichick, no longer HC of the NEP. It's one day it may be a beautiful day. Right now it's a sad day, but what a wild and awesome ride it was. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you guys for the comments, the questions, and so much more. We'll be here with you all off season long. Don't you think we will miss a beat? It has been incredible. And hey, maybe the fun has just begun. We'll talk to you guys soon. Viva Belichick. Thanks for everything, everybody. Good day. God bless. Stay tuned. And as always,